centre stage. Making sure they're all in the right place with the right facilities at the right time takes months of planning. Sue Crabtree found out how the organisers are getting on.
In about 48 hours, the trio who inspire loyalty across successive generations of fans start their Invisible Touch extravaganza. And with it, they'll end a massive operation that's taken 6 months to arrange. 50 plumbers and 50 electricians will have laid pipes and wires, 160 labourers will have drunk endless cups of tea and put up scaffolding, and the band's own 120-strong crew will have finely tuned sound and vision. That's no mean feat, with a computer system controlling Very Lights costing a cool £3 million.
We're all on schedule with everything going up as it should be and everything into place. The weather is making life a little bit difficult at times, but we're hoping that'll change. For them, we've got a complete complex, dressing rooms, catering rooms, entertaining rooms, and of course the difficulty here is that you start from a field. It's not that you're going into a stadium with ready-made dressing room accommodation.
The sheer size of the place is good for the walkie-talkie firms, but it's a headache for security, although they're ready for emergencies.
On the day of the show, we'll have 420 guys and some girls.
What do they all do?
We've got the safety of the public to look after, which is our main concern, and then the security of the backstage areas and security of all the fencing that people who have not paid tickets get in for nothing.
So, no gate crashers at Roundhay's third major concert after the Stones and Springsteen. The council expects to make £60,000.
We have the finest parks in the country and the finest arena for such an event of anywhere, I think, and that's why they always want to come here.
And if you want to go there too and haven't got a ticket, there are still a few left at £15.
And indeed, the weather looks set fair for Sunday as well, so if you're going there, enjoy yourselves. Now, I think we can all...
It's in their food, that's...
to see Genesis perform one of the biggest rock concerts in the North for years. At least another 10,000 people were outside. It was muddy and wet, but everyone agreed it was a great success. Clarence Mitchell was lucky enough to be there.
At 1 o'clock yesterday, Roundhay Park was virtually empty. It was a full 8 hours before Genesis were due on stage, but the band was already busy checking its equipment. In 2 hours' time, more than 80,000 people were due to arrive, but for the moment there was only a small audience of lucky security men and slightly bemused policemen. Soundcheck over, the band left the park to prepare for the show. Already thousands had gathered outside, and within seconds of the gates opening, the big rush was on for the best view at the front. Outside, even the early arrivals were facing huge queues. Police kept a watchful eye at the entrances to the specially erected steel-reinforced walls. On the other side, security men kept watch for forged tickets, as well as bottles and cans of drink, which weren't allowed in. Once inside, the problem wasn't so much in finding a good position, it was more a question of just staying upright. Mud, mud and more mud was everywhere, and occasional rain showers later on didn't help, but nobody really minded. 130 St John ambulance personnel were on hand to help in any emergencies, and more than 150 West Yorkshire police officers mingled with the good-natured and ever-increasing crowd. It was about to be the scene of the biggest concert in the north for years, and during the long wait, the caterers, some of them exotic, were doing brisk business. Meanwhile, the stars of the show, Genesis themselves, were looking forward to playing at Roundhay.
Playing these places that are just parks as opposed to stadiums is a little tricky, because a lot of people are going to sort of be doing that to see you as opposed to having banked seats, although this is better than most because it has its own natural bank. So sound-wise, we sound good outdoors. I mean, the PA we've got has been, you know, quite well received outdoors. People say the sound is very good. So hopefully we've got 2 good screens each side of the stage, so people that are far away can see what we're doing.
The band were in Leeds on the final leg of a 10-month world tour.
It's been good, actually. I think, I mean, I'm pleased the fact that we're coming up to 112 shows, and I think we're playing well. I mean, you'd imagine that towards the end you start to fray a little bit. There's been some little ups and downs in a sense, and which you need almost. You know, you start to get a little bit complacent, and then you pick yourself up again. But it's been good fun. Yeah.
But what about future Genesis recording plans?
I know nothing. We haven't written anything. I mean, we didn't even write anything for this Genesis album until we actually met in the studio to write the album, which is how we've done the last couple of albums, with nothing prepared beforehand. Come in and we improvise for 2 or 3 months, and at the end of that time we've got a record, you know. And so that's hopefully how we'll do it next time. But I wouldn't see us beginning that until at least the end of next year, and probably later. I mean, I really don't know. We kind of never really look very far ahead.
By now, the crowd had grown to its full, huge size, with between 10 to 20,000 people still outside. As Paul Young helped beat the rain showers by warming up the audience, some running repairs were needed for the spectacular lighting system. Meanwhile, the police kept a closed-circuit eye on things from their hilltop control room. The man in charge was delighted that, by the end of the day, there were only 24 arrests out of 80,000 people.
It's a big operation, but we've held previous events of this kind here at Roundhay Park, and I think we want more. It's a good thing to attract these sort of events to the city of Leeds, I find.
And the mood of the crowd is, generally speaking, a happy one?
Excellent. They've come here to enjoy the music, and it's our job to make sure they do.
Back on the boundary, security guards did have to deal with a few fights and up to 1,000 attempted break-ins, but without serious trouble. More than 500 injuries were dealt with, including several broken legs from the mud. Meanwhile, back at the ladies, chivalry wasn't dead. After all the waiting, Genesis finally appeared.
Fantastic atmosphere. You know, I was one of the 10,000 outside of that concert. Couldn't get a ticket.
Peeping through the fence.
I was, yes.